Variole Nyalo gaina Kudanjel Ala Wow Hilali lambe Sheikh Amar Ya khuskin jale wala Sheikh Amar Ajambai kurang jale ni woyayam Ay way kachingalama Ladar kodu bilan may samam.
All right, thank you. Okay, guys, good day, everyone. Welcome back. It's another year, and we are different. We are here for a reason. And I want to use this medium to thank our Gambia for being part of the talk show. Along the way, I have Itano, popularly known as Richard. That's his real name, but he wished to be called as Itano. So, myself, my name is Musa Traore, and of course, Amadou is with us with the camera. And I want to use this medium. If you are watching us live, please do not forget to subscribe our YouTube channel by typing VM International TV on YouTube, and then you will be able to subscribe, and then don't forget to turn the bell so that whenever we upload a new video, you will be able to see it. And so that's it. On that note, today is going to be a different thing. It's about Gambia. It's about our environment. It's about our ecology. It's about our forests. A lot of things is going on, so we need a positive change, in order to make a positive desire. I will not do justice if I don't actually hand over. Kindly welcome Itano and of course our Gambie to kindly introduce themselves. Let's start with introduction first. And our Gambie, I know if you have any other question to challenge him, fine, you are highly welcome as well.
He's my mentor. He's my mentor.
Okay, he's your mentor, right?
I always get inspired when he's speaking.
All right, no problem. So, Itano, can you introduce yourself to the people and tell us what is your talent as well?
Okay, VM, thank you very much indeed. Itano, originally from the United Kingdom. I've been in the Gambia now for almost 9 months.
9 months?
Indeed.
Okay.
And thoroughly enjoy it here. The climate is excellent. There's so much to do. And since having been here, I've really developed an important mission, which we will talk about in due course.
Yeah.
But thanks very much, VM, for giving me the opportunity in the forum to really speak about what it is that I'm doing in the Gambia.
Okay, kindly introduce yourself, young lady.
Okay. Well, this is not the first time you all are seeing me.
Yeah.
This is our Gambia. Call me Gambian. Born, raised in the Gambia. Doing my own thing. Yeah, I think you all know me. I won't go further. You all know me. This is our Gambia.
Today is like we are having a musician on the table, and we are also having a freedom fighter of ecology. Itano, can you tell us how did you find yourself in the Gambia?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I had an opportunity to really change my life. I was formerly a businessman in the United Kingdom, 17 years in international business, and I had an opportunity to really just, I suppose you could say, retire early. I decided to come to the Gambia and just really explore the country in Africa, and I've learned so much since I've been here. And I've learned really about the Gambia, and although I've been here 9 months, I really do feel like I've still only scratched the surface. So there's a lot for me to do here, there's a lot to explore. And what I'm hoping to do is, as I explore and travel around the Gambia, is to document it and get it onto my own YouTube channel for both the Gambian population, so they can see what their country is like, as many Gambians don't really leave their villages or their towns. So for me, it's an opportunity to really show the Gambian population, those who don't travel, what their country actually looks like. And it's also an opportunity for me to promote the Gambia to the wider world, especially back home in the United Kingdom, but anywhere else as well, because this really is a very special little country. And it's a highly safe country as well, and we're all aware that tourism has taken a bit of a knock here recently, really over the past few years. It seems to have been one thing after the other, and it's not really fair, and I don't really think that the Gambia is being truly represented properly. So hopefully by traveling around and documenting it and getting it on a YouTube channel, then I might be able to show people the other side of the Gambia, which is a truly beautiful country.
Thank you. And yes, coming back to our Gambia, can you also tell us what do you actually enjoy in your own country, the Gambia?
Well, the peace and stability that we had, and well, it's rather unfortunate that peace is slowly being removed, being damaged.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Peace is destroyed.
Just look at it this way. Gambia bin Hamon, the Gambia we knew. I mean, there was not anything like Rufineka di help. You can see.
Yeah.
Ñepa nekkon bena. Gambia amut hajo. Like dafa bañ ba just say that this year be since
2020.
No, not 2020, 2019. Total 2019. Tourists you were on a new. In 2018 it was perfect. 2019 be because luñ commencé since tourism is
going down.
Get them down slowly, and nit ñi legi rayante bi mu ngi bari. People are killing each other, like seriously. People are hurting each other, like physically. So a lot of things are changing.
Yeah.
So man, suma Gambia, I want my Gambia.
All right. You like your Gambia. It's just like you want to say, I like my Gambia. Well, coming back to you, our Gambia is just trying to tell us like Gambia is so peaceful, but now no more because of how we are before. The relationship between Gambians themselves is not that strong. How did you see Gambia yourself?
Well, you know, VM, I think one of the things that's really impressed me is really the warmth of all the Gambian people, and you know, you've got at least 8 different tribes here, and at least, and so many different languages. I mean, the Fuller language itself has got 15 different dialects, so you've got a very small country, lots of different tribes, and lots of different languages and variations of. However, when I spend a lot of time on my motorcycle riding in the bush, and it's not uncommon for me to have a mechanical failure, and the assistance that's offered to me, you know, whether it's young kids helping bump start the motorcycle, or whether it's adults helping me load the vehicle, the machine onto their truck, and they drive me out to a bush mechanic somewhere. You know, the warmth, the generosity, the happiness, and the unity that comes across is absolutely fantastic, and you know, so helpful, and I always feel really grateful for their assistance, and it really drives me as well to try and give something back positive.
That's great. And before we have a short break, can you actually bring a song that will unite Gambians and that will unite Africa and the world at large? Any song from your desire. It could be someone's song, it could be your own song, it could be your own imaginations.
This is a song I wrote. I think I sang the song some time ago.
Little bit louder.
I think I sang the song like some time ago when you invited me over at the radio station. So like, it's about believing in your country, believing in what you are, believing in your nation, and knowing that you can do it.
Yeah.
And like the way they always say it, I mean, united we stand, divided we fall.
Yeah.
Stuff. So okay, yeah. The song goes like this. Yo masna pakai modela, real minyo como bila ko hebal. Red, white, blue, white, green, nanko fenyal. Di moy di wachi domu bewon. Anin yi komante di kodev, anin yi koyote di chitev. Anan yi tela tayi burgatem. Komante demi dinga deluse. Yo finger juto, finger mage bulko chakane. Rewi sunyu reula nyindendo widwin ko chakane. Yo finger juto, finger mage bulko chakane. Fila, no, fila.
Wow, Fila. So that's amazing. Itano, tell me a little bit about Gambia before we go into short musical interludes.
Okay. Well, I think that what I'll do is I'll take the opportunity to really sort of just talk about what my foundation is doing, because it specifically relates to the Gambia. As I said, this is an absolutely amazing country. It's highly beautiful, and it has got a very beautiful ecology. But when I arrived here, I started talking to people, and I suddenly learned that there really is an impending ecological problem on the horizon, and so I've set a foundation up. It's called the AG Media Foundation. And
what do you mean, AG?
AG, it stands for Atino Gates.
Okay.
Basically, I've set it up to raise awareness into the effects of deforestation and the over-exploitation of natural resources within the Gambia. Rainy season, when I was here last 6 years ago, and as it's always been previously, starts in the middle of June and finishes in the middle of October. For the last 4 years in a row, however, that's been cut in half. It now starts in the middle of August, but still finishes at the same time. So this amount of rainfall that the Gambia really needs, it has to have, has essentially been cut by 50%. And the reason being is because in this country, 50% of the rainfall is created by the trees. And unfortunately, the trees are being cut down without being replanted. And this is having a direct effect on the rainy season. People use a lot of charcoal here, people use a lot of firewood. But the major problem is that the trees are now being cut and they're not being replanted. No seedlings are being replanted. Now there are some great organisations out there. I think there's one called Green Up Gambia. I've never spoken to anyone, but I understand it's an organisation that's dedicated to tree planting, so well done. Big up Green Up Gambia. But as I said, it's not enough.
And all I remember is your back, walking towards the airport, leaving a soul in your past. I've traveled 1,500 miles to see you. I beg you to want me, but you didn't want to. Piece by piece, he collected me off of the ground where you abandoned things. And piece by piece, he fixed the holes that you burned in me. 6 years old, and you know he never walks away. He never asks for money, he takes care of me. He loves me. Piece by piece, he restored my faith that a man could be kind and a father should stay.
Wow, indeed, a father should stay. Gambia is a home of both black and white, and Gambia is a home for everybody. And in the Gambia, when you look at it, our national flag is red, white, blue, white, green, and it all has a meaning. And Gambia is surrounded by river, and then it has its agriculture as well. Well, Mr. Itano, you talk about ecology, and you talk about the side effect of the ecology in the Gambia. Tell me, since you have come in the Gambia, did you see a forest, or did you see any place in the Gambia that really move you to the extent that you have the aims and objective to bring up to set up your project?
Absolutely, VM, yes. And I really would like to make it clear at this stage that I still feel that I've got so much of the Gambia to explore, and I'm really looking forward to 2020 and really achieving that. I think that the place where I found, I guess you could say, the inner peace is at the Stone Circle site at Wasu, which is where my project is now based. And I was up there indeed on the last full moon of 2019, and it really is absolutely stunning. And to be up there at that time, really, I felt very, very privileged. And the journeys up to Wasu are always very interesting. And you know, I get to go up the Trans-Gambian Highway. Sometimes we get off that, go into bush routes, go and explore the villages. And in our next forthcoming mission, then I'm really planning to get out into the bush, go and stay in the national parks, and so on and so forth. I find the whole of the Gambia really beautiful. There are, however, places, for instance, where you can see it is very dry and it is very barren now. Particularly when you head east. I mean, we're by the coast at the moment, and from, I guess it's maybe 60 kilometres perhaps from Banjul to Khartoum, which is the northernmost coastal part to the southernmost. And we are very well protected here. There's still a lot of trees, there's still a lot of greenery. And it's easy to forget that most of the Gambia is actually east. And yeah, as soon as you start travelling east, then you do see the effects of deforestation.
And then you heard her singing. What did you learn from her song, actually?
Oh, it's a very beautiful song. It's also quite, in some respects, it's quite painful for me to listen to, because in order to really come to the Gambia and do what I'm doing, I left my own daughters back in the United Kingdom, and I know that my family looks after them very well, but it's something that I had to do in order to really come to the Gambia. So it was an enormous sacrifice. So listening to the song, it's sung incredibly beautifully as always.
And Eternal, since you have come, you are not only protecting the environment, but you also involved into Home Kids Got Talent talk show on the radio, and you eventually become a judge. Tell me, what is your experience in that category, and how did you come across Home Kids in the Gambia?
Okay, well, obviously I was introduced to UVM via a mutual friend. I guess maybe eight months ago, I guess, and that's how we got started on the show. Now, what really strikes me is that you've got an awful lot of talent in the Gambia. The kids that come on the show, the poems that they recite, the songs that they sing, the conversations that they have are really quite high level, and I think some of the songs as well are just phenomenal. So for a youngster to come and sing in the studio completely unaided, without any backing, you know, it does take courage, which they've got ample of, and some of the songs they sing are really absolutely tremendous. Now, where I live, VM, you know, I don't have an internet connection, I don't have a television, I don't have a radio, and I barely get a phone signal, so I really don't hear any news at all. So when I come to the radio show, it's often the kids, and what they tell me. You know, they help me form my opinion of what is happening in the Gambia, and indeed sometimes in the outside world as well. So they're a very important source of information.
So are you really proud to be part of the Home Kids?
Oh, absolutely. It's been tremendous.
And now that you are working towards your project, that is the ecology, how do you think Home Kids can support you, and how do you think the Gambian youngster like our Gambie can support you and Mariama Cham, including Aisha? How do you think they can actually support you to do what you're doing?
Well, you know, I think the first part is really up to me. You know, I've got to start producing the content. I've made presentations on what I've done. I've almost completed a website where anyone in the world can download the documents which I have and presentations which I've created. So I think right now the onus is on me to get the material together. And once I've done that, you know, sharing, liking, getting it out, and just spreading the message would be absolutely tremendous.
And why do you choose ecology instead of supporting youngsters in the Gambia?
Okay, I think the reason why the ecology for me is the number one issue in the Gambia. There is no more important issue, because if the ecology fails and rainy season stops, the whole country stops. And that would be devastating for everybody, and it affects everyone regardless of age, regardless of religion, regardless of tribe, regardless of how much money you've got. It affects the man on a cart being pulled by a donkey. It affects the man driving a Range Rover. Everybody is going to be affected if rainy season fails. So for me, the number one mission is to restore rainy season to its full cycle by raising awareness into deforestation. And let's face it, VM, you know, the kids have got you. Yeah. And you know, you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Week after week, day after day, tirelessly going out promoting the youths and children of the Gambia. So, you know, they've got a great envoy already.
Okay, Gambia, I know you may also have a question to put across, and today, with Itano, we're going to push him, we drag his neck to get the truth from him. Yes. So if you also have a question to put across him, because he's a stranger in the country, but then people like him really need support. And you once told me that you set up this foundation. Where did you get your incomes to promote what you're doing?
Okay, absolutely. I guess the best way of describing it is that, you know, as I mentioned before, I had the opportunity to finish my sort of previous career in business. Now, I guess the easy way for me to explain this is I could have waited, like most people, till they're sort of 65 and retired with a very reasonable pension. However, I felt that I probably wouldn't be around very long to enjoy it. So I had an opportunity to retire when I was 41 with a much smaller pension, and I took that. So basically everything has essentially come out of that. I get paid a monthly allowance, shall we say, and the majority of that gets ploughed into equipment and the foundation. I would just like to take this opportunity to say thank you very much indeed to my father back in the United Kingdom, as last month I, after some should we say, some pester power, I managed to get enough money to purchase a new motorcycle for the foundation. So huge thank you to my father.
And we're saying thank you to you, Daddy, as well. And you said you have been a manager in UK. Tell us, what were you doing? What were you actually managing in UK?
Okay, well, I was actually a company director and had been since the age of 27. Now, basically what I was doing, I was buying and selling products. So I started off...
Slow down, please.
My apologies.
Yeah.
So basically I was buying and selling products, distributing them. And as time went on, I got involved with much more sophisticated products, things to do with healthcare, high specification safety equipment, all sorts of different things which I found of great interest to me. And basically I'd buy them from overseas, ship them around the United Kingdom, and more often than not actually export them out as well. So I think by the end of my career I'd probably exported to, what must have been just shy of 100 countries. And I got to meet a very wide range of people, and you know, I think that I enjoyed my business career. However, at the end of it, I decided that there was more to life than counting profits, and the opportunity to come to West Africa, the opportunity to come to the Gambia and dedicate my life to something which I feel is really worthwhile, and have the opportunity to just help an entire country. That's something for me is really worth living for. Okay.
When you come to Gambia, youths are not working, and the government is not actually supporting the youths to do what you're doing. If you also look at it, there are a lot of people that are aiming to go to England. What is your advice to the Gambian youth, and at the same time, what advice do you have for the government to advise them to stay here, and there is a lot to do in their country rather than going abroad or going to Europe or America, you know, and other part of the world as well?
I think that the reality of travelling overseas to Europe, or especially Europe at the moment, you know, we've spoken about on the radio show about kids and youth taking the back way. I mean, the journey itself is highly treacherous. You know, the chances are that you will certainly suffer terribly, possibly enslaved, definitely robbed, and by the time you arrive in Europe, if you are alive at all, then it's actually, you get put into an immigration centre, and it's really, really unpleasant. I think the reality is as well that even if you get through all of those obstacles, life in Western Europe is entirely different from the way it is depicted. The life that Gambians have here is rather special, actually. You're actually a very free country. And you know, lots of people would enjoy sitting under mango trees, drinking a tyre and talking about this, that and the other. You do not have that opportunity in Western Europe. You work, you work, you work. And of course, being an unskilled Gambian, really, the brutal reality is that you know, you've got the type of jobs that you are you're going to get it's going to be janitorial based, i.e. cleaning toilets or something really, really unpleasant. So I think one of the real problems at the moment is some of the things which are on social media. And I think that the music industry, to an extent, has got something to blame for that, because of course you see your stars, if you like, or people singing, and they've got very expensive cars behind them, they've got, you know, they're in mansions with lots of pretty girls and so on and so forth. But what most people don't realise is that after the show, unless you're really at the top of your game, is that everyone goes home. You don't get to keep the cars, you don't live in the mansion, you don't get the pretty girls, you've got to go back to a bedsit somewhere. That's the reality for most artists, or for many artists at least. So there's a sort of false reality being shown on social media, and it just doesn't exist. And I think it's highly damaging, because of course people are lured to it. People think that the grass is greener on the other side. It is not. Now, obviously we've spoken about employment and the such. Now I think that Gambia, in a way, can do something entirely different. I don't think it's got the same standards. It shouldn't set the same standards and goals as Western Europe, because it's an entirely different structure. And I think that the youth who want something to do should really start thinking about the ecology, because the ecology is there to protect you. It will feed you. It will house you. It's specifically there to look after you. And you need to step out and go and experience it, and you know, go to the bush and understand it. And you know, if there's no employment available, then start planting. You know, start growing your food. Start being self-sufficient. Because ultimately, what do you go and get a job to do? You go and get a job to house yourself, to feed yourself. And the nature's right here. You can go and do it for absolutely nothing at all. And I think there's an opportunity for Gambians to really get in tune with their country again, and indeed the nature. And to the government, you know, if there's clearly not enough jobs to go around, then I think that that's something that they should be encouraging people to do, to go and learn about seedlings, to go and learn about planting, to go and learn about feeding themselves, because then it's a burden off the government's shoulders. By having a population that's self-sufficient, by using the natural resources available to it.
And if you look at the government or the politician, let me put it in that aspect. Most of the politicians will always, when they are on the tour for their personal interests, they will tell the farmers that we're going to give you tractors, we're going to give you cutlass, we're going to give you manure for you to carry on your activities. But the only thing you need to do is to...
I heard what you were saying, like the back way is really risky and very deadly, I can say. But everyone I love myself. You love yourself. Okay. I love myself. You love yourself. He loves himself. Okay. So this youth know the risk that is in this journey. They fully know, they know. But don't you think that it is beyond them that they're embarking on this? I'm not encouraging you to embark on this, because it's very bad. It's very bad. But to think of it, a lot of youths are not just going there because they want to go there. They're just going there because it's kind of like they're forced to. So what do you have to say to the government? Because everybody has a part in it. Everybody. Your family is frustrated, your environment is frustrated, you are frustrated, you can't even think like you'll be like, it's kinda like a torture that is being inflicted, that is a pain that's been inflicted on you and pushing you to do things that you cannot even, that you don't even want to do. It's like you've been pushed to do. So like we cannot blame the people going there.
Oh, you certainly can't blame the people going there at all.
Yeah.
I think there's enormous pressure on youth to make the journey, because it's being made on a false promise, you know, and I can't stress this enough. It's a false reality. People are being tricked, and I think that's the real basics of it. You know, they're being sort of shown this fantastic life that awaits them. And it's just not there. So even if they make the journey, it's not there. It doesn't exist.
And a lot of them, like when they're there, like they don't tell the truth.
Yeah.
They like I am there, like I will see a beautiful place and I will stand and take a photo and then share it on Facebook.
Social media.
Yeah, social media, and my friends will be saying it and be like, hey,
You
this
don't
guy
be
is enjoying. I need to go.
Go there.
So like those kind of things, you need to be truthful and honest and tell your fellow pair what is happening, what is really happening. Um,
In Africa, in
what
Europe.
is happening in Europe.
Yeah.
The,
Now-
the reality. We need to be real.
Again, that's something I've heard. You know, lots of people have said that to me. That people who do get over there will often, you know, I think they probably are quite horrified by what they find, but they're very keen not to be embarrassed in front of their family and their friends. So they will go and take photos in front of cars or houses and say, hey guys, this is my life.
Yeah.
And it's just not true. So I would say to those people, come on, don't be like that. You know, you have got to show the truth, the reality. You know, don't make it up. Don't be ashamed, because what you're doing is encouraging other youngsters. And you've got to remember that some of those youngsters may see you and they may take that journey and they may not make it because it is so dangerous. So, you know, don't be ashamed. Be truthful. And really educate people back home. Say, hang on a second, guys. Look, life over here is really different and we're not used to it. And actually, if you learn to be content with what you have and you really go out and explore your own country, then you'll be a lot more content, a lot more safe, and a lot more suited to your environment. Now, we mentioned before, there's so many people I've met who just don't travel out of their towns and villages. And, you know, so they sort of think that this is life, this is the Gambia. And I think it's really important for Gambians to go out and explore their own country and learn about it. And in doing so, you'll actually be helping the economy, because the more Gambians that travel around, you know, they go and spend their money in different towns, they might stay in a lodge somewhere or so and so forth. So by actually, Gambians can help themselves. You don't necessarily need a influx of other people, of tourists as such. Of course it helps, and of course that's, you know, a healthy tourist industry within the Gambia is highly important. But as I said, you know, you're not solely reliant on them. And just by going out and exploring your own country, you will be helping your own country.
What do you think the government can also do to ban the road of backway, and then to also encourage the youths that are doing better in Europe or America? What do you think the government can do to encourage those who are doing better to also come over and invest in their country in order to take the economic background higher? And what do you think the government can also do to discourage the idea of going through the back way, or just traveling and not knowing where you're traveling?
Well, I think that the harsh reality of the back way is that it's a money-making scheme for unscrupulous people, in so much as it's a false stream and you've got to pay for it, and somebody is in receipt of that money. So I think that the government really needs to have a crackdown on people who are exploiting the youth and children of the Gambia by encouraging them to make this journey and by essentially robbing them by taking their money. So there's no doubt about it. It's a criminal organisation. So I think that the government definitely has got the opportunity to step up and address it. And I think that the Gambian politicians really need to be aware is that when they start taking steps like this and are seen to take steps like this, then their standing in the eyes of the world stage or the international community will only go up. You know, when people are seen to be taking positive action to help their country, to help their countrymen, they are recognised for it. So they will get tremendous kudos from taking the initiative and trying to crack down on any organisations that are exploiting kids and youths.
Okay. Awa, do you also have anything to add?
To that.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to ask another question.
Yeah.
Do you listen to Gambian music?
You know, I love Gambian music. I really enjoy it, and one of my sort of complaints actually is that I don't hear enough of it. You know, I genuinely don't, but I love listening to you guys sing. You know, some of the greatest moments being in the studio you know, whether it's yourself or Mariama Cham or you know, just burst into song and sing these remarkable
And who is
songs.
your star?
Oh.
In the Gambia, I mean. Who is your favorite artist in the Gambia?
Naturally.
Remember, Madam Cham is watching.
Mariama! Well, you know, whatever I say, I'm going to get in trouble here.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
how do you see the music industry? Do you think we're progressing? Do you think we are going far?
Well, you know, I think that that's actually quite difficult for me to answer, and the reason being is because I need to get out and really go to the festivals and experience more live music myself before I can make a judgment on that. You know, I think I've been very engrossed in you know, getting through the various bureaucratic hurdles that's required to set up a foundation, sorting out equipment, sorting out machinery, and on it goes. And I've kind of neglected the sort of the more entertaining side of life, actually. So I think I probably need just to chill out a bit and actually go and listen to some more live music.
Now, coming back to ecology,
Yes.
can you tell us what is ecology all about?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's I think it's probably people who are far better able to explain it than me, but I think as far as the Gambia are concerned, and indeed, let's face it, the world, my view of the ecology has really formed since I've been here. I'll be honest, in my business career, I never really thought much about ecology, and in the United Kingdom, the climate is very different, and as I said, I enjoyed being surrounded by trees and so on and so forth, but it's not something I gave a huge amount of thought for. I understand the ecology and sort of Mother Nature, if you like. It's, my opinions have really formed here, and I understand that it's something that the Creator, that God has built to protect us, the humans, and it can feed us, it can house us, it protects us. So this entire unique system, which encompasses, you know, the trees, the shrubs, the plant life, all creatures, the sea life, the fish, this entire impeccable system is being designed to keep us protected and safe within our biosphere, planet Earth. And somehow, somewhere along the way, we've forgotten that as a species. And it's not just the Gambians, I think it's the entire, or much of the global population. We've become so far removed from it that we've forgotten this. And actually, we ignore it, we've almost become enemies of it. We've turned Mother Nature into an enemy. And through our endeavours, we are in the process of destroying it. And if we do that, we must understand that if we destroy our biosphere and its ecology, our lives end as well. It is a simple formula. If we destroy our ecology, we destroy ourselves. So, not just within the Gambia, but within the entire planet, there needs to be an urgent awakening. I think there is, especially amongst the kids and youth of Western Europe, for instance. Lots of people are interested in climate change now. And so on and so forth. But there really has got to be a universal, wholesale change in our attitude to the over-exploitation of natural resources. And I'm going to just let you know something here. Up until the early 80s, mankind was harvesting Mother Nature's resources at a level that Mother Nature could essentially replace it. However, for the last 20 years, we've been taking far more from Mother Nature than she can provide. Now, everyone likes to think they've got a business mind on them, regardless of education levels. Everyone likes to be a bit of a hustler. So let's face it, it's very simple. If we take more resource than Mother Nature can provide, we as a species will fail. Mm-hmm. If we look after Mother Nature and behave in a sustainable way, then we will survive as a species indefinitely. And there has got to be a wholesale acknowledgement from people in an African village to people in a large city in a first world nation. Because if we don't, then really we are as a species running out of time. And I think that that's a huge concern. So really, the awakening has got to happen now.
Okay, and finally, what advice do you have for the tourists that are helpful for the country? What do you think the tourists that are coming in the Gambia can also have access to your project and then to your foundation as well? How do you also think they can support you along the way, the Gambian government? How do you think we all can support you to make sure that you get your
Absolutely.
your desire?
Well, I think that I think by listening, by sitting down and having a discussion, by doing radio shows, by doing TV, and really getting this message across. Now, I have to show humility, and I'll be absolutely honest with you. This project, my foundation, it's not about me. It can't possibly be about me. It is absolutely about the survival of the Gambia, and it's to ensure that in 10 years' time we do not have a dust bowl, that we do not have severe droughts and famines, such as happened in Ethiopia when I was a child growing up. Terrible pictures of starvation. And really, that could potentially happen to the Gambia within a decade if we don't make some very simple changes. And the changes which I'm proposing are not going to affect anybody's wealth. It's not going to really affect their daily lives. It's just taking a few more moments when going out and cutting trees to ensure that seedlings are planted. So the whole concept of this is to have as minimum impact on people's lives as possible, but the greatest return in a decade's time. And as I said, if we can just navigate a few degrees in the right direction now, then we're going to have a happy, healthy Gambia in a decade's time. And I think what a shining example for the rest of Africa and the rest of the world, if we really turned it around. We don't want more aid, that's not really helpful. I think the Gambian population, just as myself, would like to be completely self-sufficient and very happy and content. And that opportunity is real.
And finally, what is your ambition in next 10 or... you said I should say 5 years, but let's say next 10 years, how do you think you're going to achieve all your goals within 10 years or let's say 5 years?
I think I'm not going to stop. I've got a charitable, my foundation is a charitable foundation, but long ago I made the decision that even if I never receive a single dalasi in a donation, it's not going to stop me. I'm just going to keep on chipping away at the project. And the reason being is because every Gambian I have ever spoken to, regardless of age, regardless of wealth, and so on and so forth, has a real understanding of what it is that I'm saying. And so the great thing about this is that it's not a question of educating a whole country. It's the Gambia as a country has got such a high level of knowledge on this subject, and you're all really smart people. And it's just a question of trying to unify everybody on this subject and just take this one step, this one single step that will, prevent a negative outcome. So really, if I can do that, if I can get the Gambian population talking amongst themselves about how to resolve this issue, about how to protect their resources,